Emma, Dahlia, and Leanna, this video right now is just for you. I wanted to show you something. The last phone meeting we had, the comment was made about when entering a family having to copy the address, the phone number, postal code, all that stuff, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 times, depending on how many family members there are. There is a way to do it without having to input those address and phone number information each time. The only reason I'm showing it to you guys first is because it does get around users having to search to see if a client is in the database first or not. And anytime you're sort of copying a client file, you're sort of skipping that step, and that of course leads to the potential of duplicates in the system. So I'm going to show you this, and then maybe you three can decide amongst yourselves if it's worth showing other people or not. So let's start. I'm on the clients menu. I'm going to do a search for me, and there I am, and I'm going to click on the create family composition link. Right. So the way that this sort of is supposed to work, right, is if I put some information in here, LAU, and let's put in B for Brian, for my brother, and click search, no clients came up, right? So at that point you can go ahead and add Brian in as an actual client and then add him to the family. And one of the things I had built for my other clients to be able to do that without having to go back to clients and doing a search for Brian and then adding them in and all that kind of stuff is this section down here near the bottom that says add new family members that are not in the database. If I put in Brian Lawton here, right, and say he's my brother, born in December 1972, and then this link here that says copy address, which will copy the address of the first person who is in the family. And if I check off the mark as client column, it'll indicate he's a client of the department of wherever the user is. So I input that information and I click Save Changes. Ignore this here, you're only seeing it because I'm logged in, and I'll redo this video if you want to show it to other people. But as you can see, Brian Lawton has now been added into this family. He's a brother. And if I click on his name, his profile pops up. We see he's been marked off as a wrap client as of November 8th, even though today is actually November the 24th. What it's done is copy the create date from the first person's client record. So I became a client of wrap on November 8th, so it's assuming that Brian became a client of wrap on November 8th as well. Of course, you can change that to whatever appropriate date it may be. And if we scroll down through the rest of the record, we'll notice that it's copied the address, city, state, postal code, phone number, all that kind of stuff that was on the record. It even marked him as a male because it knew he was my brother, so it's smart enough to know that that's a male. It's input his birth date, all that kind of stuff. The rest of the stuff, though, is blank, and they would have to still go through and fill out the rest of that for each person. The drawback of that is this. What people will tend to do is not search first to see if the client already exists. What they'll do is something like this. They'll just go down here, put in Susan Lawton, right, mark her as my wife, say copy the address, mark her as a client, and click Save Changes, and lo and behold, Susan Lawton goes in the database, right? And if we click on her name, it's copied the create date, copy the address and phone number and all that kind of stuff, which is fantastic. Except for when we click on clients and do a search for an S. Lawton, we'll see there's two of them, because there was this Susan Lawton in the database before that was already a client of Sod's previously. So now there's two clients for Susan Lawton in the system. So doing that, adding clients through this family composition portion works fine, except for the fact people are skipping completely the step to check to see if a client is in the database or not. So that ability does exist. Whether or not you want to show it to people or not is up to you guys. If you want to take a look at it and figure it out for yourselves first, and then maybe chat with me about any changes that maybe we can make. But unfortunately, if people don't do that search first, they can go ahead and add them directly into the system if you guys show it to them. So anyways, up to you, but there's the video just so you know. Thanks.